Good evening and welcome to the Gamery. I am your host E.C. Bond, and tonight we're going to be playing Viscounts of the West Kingdom by Renegade Games. This is a 1 to 4 player game in which you take the role of a Viscount, which I try to find a modern day equivalent, but I think entrepreneur is probably the best way to do it. This game is about controlling a kingdom or influencing a kingdom, for lack of a better word, but there's no violence. This isn't Game of Thrones. It's more of a subtle type of you're building buildings, you're writing manuscripts, you're putting your workers into the castle, and moving around the board, generally speaking, in order to be in the best position for when the king dies, essentially. There's going to be deeds and debts, and that will determine when the game ends. But essentially what you'll be doing is walking around the board and performing one of 4 actions. You're either going to trade, you're going to build a building, you're going to write a manuscript, or you're going to place workers in the castle. Now, that is the basic skeleton of the game. And if you're looking for a more thorough how-to-play video, I would suggest probably looking at Renegade Games channel, because they have a very good one there. That'll walk you through the ins and outs. This is just going to be a playthrough. If you have any questions, go ahead and pop them in the chat as we're going through it. And we can play it that way. Now, there are going to be 2 different camera angles here. This is going to be the main board, which is where your Viscount moves around and does certain things. Each area has a available worker, or I guess townsfolk is what they call them, available townsfolk, and then an available manuscript that you can produce. You also have areas on the outside of the board. Let's see if you can get a better angle. These are where you will build buildings, and then this is the castle where you will put workers. The board is circular, and I have it on a lazy Susan, so we can just kind of rotate it around. And you only move in one direction on the board. You can move to the inside circle or the outside circle. This is one camera angle. I'm also going to be jumping back and forth between this angle, which is the player board. This is where you will see the basics of the actions and the icons that you need in order to do the actions. The iconography in this game is really where it stands out. Almost too much. I did look in the rulebook occasionally to find like a glossary of all the icons, and they don't really have that. It's kind of, as you read it, it'll say, you know, this icon means this and this and that and whatnot. And at the back of the book, it has a listing of all the icons. But you may find some things confusing of just looking at a card, especially the manuscripts. So let me cut back to that. What these mean and how you use them. But I'll explain it as the game progresses. It's not really that hard. It's very smart the way this game is set up, but it does take a little bit of getting used to. The rulebook's not very long. The game really isn't that complicated. I like to think of this as a pretty medium weight, like a Scythe kind of game, a viticulture kind of game, but it plays a little bit more like Clank. And if you have a problem with that, I can understand, because it's not a very good description. But the idea is that it's kind of simple in what it is, but it's very complex in that you're doing different things, different mechanics. And I think the best way to describe it is this is a fun game to play, but a harder game to win. Now, we're going to be playing on the solo mode. So I have my board set up here. In the middle, we got the resources and deeds. And then this will be the AI board as it comes along. So hopefully you can bear with me as I'm moving this around. This is probably the best camera work I can do right now. I am playing solo for obvious reasons with the pandemic. No one's allowed to come inside the apartment. And while we're here on this screen, I want to show you these are debts and these are deeds. This is your game timer. You're going to gain these cards a couple different ways you can get them. And if all the debts are taken, that triggers a game end. And if you have these debts, if you trigger the debts, that means there's poverty. And if you have deeds, then you're going to get more points, and vice versa. So it's a little tricky in that regard of trying to figure out like how to play this game, because in a way it's kind of like a co-op, right? If you see someone going for debts, right, they're going to trigger game end. And if you don't have the deeds, if you don't have the red cards, then you're not going to score a lot of points. The person who, the person who has the most of the red cards as shown there, they're the ones that are going to get the most points. Now, it's possible for both poverty and prosperity to trigger. In other words, it's possible for both these cards to run out. There's 12 on each. It does depend on the number of players, how many cards you put there. And they would just all the debts and deeds that you have will trigger, and you will get points for them. There is two sides to the deed. There is the debt. You will lose 2 points. I don't want to get too much into that. I will explain that as we go along. That's another thing about this game. There's a lot going on, but it's pretty simple when you get down to it. So let's start with just my board here, and I have my Viscount as set up here on a space 7. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is draw 3 cards off the top of my deck. I'm just going to show you these cards. These are not being placed. I'm just going to show you what they are. And this is good. This is a good little pairing. So, as you can see, each card has a cost at the top that will what is the word I'm looking for? That's how many places your Viscount can move. That's what that gold symbol is. It's also going to be on the cards on the board. That's how much they cost to recruit them. Getting ahead of myself. These icons below, though, they go with the actions that you want to take. So this is what I mean by it's kind of like Clank. If you've ever played Clank, you play a card and every card has a certain number of icons on there, and you kind of add them all up and use them to move around the dungeon or buy things from the market. That's kind of the way this game is too. You're going to add up all the icons on your player board, and they're going to allow you to do actions like build a building or trade or build a manuscript or put guys into, or workers I should say, into the castle. So for your first turn, or the first thing you'll do is you'll take these 3 cards. I'll go ahead and look at them, and let's say I'm going to go ahead and play a lender. Now, this lender is going to give me 1 movement and 2 trade icons. Down here in the bottom, there's an X here, which means that as these cards come out, they move to the side. They move to the right, and they just keep going off. When they drop off, they are discarded, and that's when that little ability will trigger. Her ability lets me flip over one of my debts and deeds. I'm not going to be able to move it all the way over there, but trust me, I have 1 debt and 1 deed. Now, a flipped over debt or deed is more valuable to you. A debt will cost you 2 points to end the game unless you flip it, in which it doesn't subtract any points from your final score, and you get 1 free resource. A deed is worth 1 point in the game, but if you flip it, it's worth 3. Now remember, these debts and deeds also count toward that end game scoring, right? If there's poverty, then we're going to count the red cards. If there's prosperity, you're going to count the black cards. And if you have both, then you're counting everything. But having them flipped over is going to be very helpful for you. So let's get started. That's going to be my first turn. I'm going to go ahead and play this lender. So now let's go back to the main board. Have my Viscount here. I can move them 1 here to the middle, or to the inner circle as opposed to the outer circle. Or I can move them over here across the river to the other side of this land. I don't know, town, area. I don't know. I think for this, in this regard, I'm going to go ahead and move here because that's a trade action. Now, on the outer circle, you'll do trade and building. On the inner circle, you'll do manuscripts and castle actions. I'm saying it out loud. I'm hearing it. It sounds more complicated than it is. Play along. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. So here I am looking here. Now, my overall strategy right now is to... I don't know. I really don't know, actually. I have quite a bit of tools and resources, but if I come over here, I'm allowed to... I can discard a card or get rid of a card completely. I think it is destroy a card. Now, you may want to do that if you have a card in your hand you don't want to use, a card like a criminal, and we'll get into what those are because they're wild. Criminals, you can use their icon for anything, and they look like this. That's a criminal. Very helpful, but it also increases your corruption on your sliding scale, which I didn't really talk about because I think it's better to see it in action than it is to actually explain what it is. But this is your corruption marker. This is your virtue marker. Those are going to move around according to things that generally happen in the game, and I'll explain what happens when they meet, because that's kind of the idea. They're going to be really corrupt or can be really virtuous, but eventually they'll meet and then things happen. It's called a collision. So with this action, I have 2 trade bags. I don't have, oh, it looks like I do. So am I on the right side? I am. So if you can see, I also have 2 free trade actions there. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 trade icons on my board that are revealed. I need 3 of those icons to destroy 1 card. Let me go ahead and go back to that main board so you can kind of see it. I don't know if you can. I don't know how well it's coming out for you guys, but those are 3 trade bags, and that means I can get rid of 1 of my card. I can destroy it, from my hand forever. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. Where is she? She's a thief. I'm going to get rid of the thief because I'm not going to go criminal. We're just going to see what happens. So I have done that. Now let's go back to this player board because it's going to be very helpful in kind of understanding the flow of the game, because your entire action is right up here on that first row, and that's where the iconography comes in. What I had done was I placed a card on my player board. If it was a criminal, I would have gained corruption. It wasn't a criminal, so I'm not going to gain the corruption. Then we move over to moving your Viscount. That's this green little icon there. I did that. I only moved him 1 because that's how many you move. You could move him more than that. You can spend gold. I do start with 8 gold on my board, and you can spend, an additional gold to move your Viscount further along the map if you so choose. Oh wait, no, I'm not done with that board. So then you go to dismissing a townsfolk. Now in this case, if you're on this town, which I need to go back to the main board, you'll see that there is a townsfolk on the top deck. I can pay money, and the cost is 3, and then the cost is on the card. I can pay 3 gold to then dismiss this townfolk, get rid of them from the game completely, and use their icons. I also then use their ability triggered here, which for this guy means I would increase my corruption. The criminal icon is wild, so I could have used it for this. I don't really need to, but that's always an option you can do before you do your main action, which is going to be one of these 4 actions here: trade, build, castle, or manuscript. Then once you did that, which is the turn we're at now, I can recruit a townsfolk from my current town into my deck, and that's where the deck building comes in. If I wanted this criminal, I could pay the money to recruit him. I think I'm actually getting that rule wrong, but we'll get into that later. You do pay the money to recruit them into your hand, and they go into your discard pile, and you're able to use them later, a little bit like Clank. So we're there, not going to buy this townsfolk, don't want the criminal. Now we're looking at collision. That's what this icon is. That is if my virtue and my corruption marker were on the same place, if they were connected, then we would do the collision. Eventually that's going to happen, and I'll explain what it does. You basically, the person whose turn it is, gains this top row. All other players gain the bottom row. Pretty simple when you look at it. Next is going to be draw back up. I have 1 card in my hand. I'm going to draw up to 3, and that is my turn. And that's essentially all you're really doing in this game on your turn. It's fun, but it's extremely difficult to win in this regard. So that is the first turn. We're going to go ahead now and come up here to the AI player. They are on the next town over from me. They will always stay on this outside circle. And the way this works is we are going to draw the top card of their AI deck and then go in order of what it's doing. So here, this would mean that I dismiss the top card of the townsfolk deck that I'm in. So let me go back to this main board. This card right here, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it. That is what the AI is doing. Destroyed, removed from the game, does not get any icons, does not get anything like that. But, and this is a little confusing because it does say in the book that you also get another future AI card. These cards are what we're using now over here on the board. They basically are the actions that the AI player is taking, and these are additional ones. So I'm going to go ahead and take that card, put it over here in my discard pile, and when we get ready to reshuffle, it's going to be there. Now let's go back to the main board, because the next step is going to be 3 movement. He's going to move 1, 2, 3. Now, as far as where that AI player is, it really only matters if he lands on me, because he has all the actions available to him, even though he's on the outside of the board. So we moved him 3. He can do the trade action there, but the next thing he's going to do is either a manuscript action, or he's going to flip one of his deeds or debts. Now, in this regard, his manuscript action, he does not have enough icons. Actually, he does. So I have an inkwell. I have 2 of the crosses, which count towards manuscript. So I could, in theory, go ahead and buy the first manuscript on here. Let me roll it around because I moved them. So this is the current manuscript. It costs 3. Let's see if I can bring it up a little closer. Costs 3. It's going to give me this silver colored badge, and that's important because you want different colors of these badges. You want sets, and the more sets you have, the more points they are. Similar to Seven Wonders, if you played that. No, other games kind of use a set collection idea, but you don't get points for having the same color. You get points for having different sets of colors, and we're going to do it. He's going to go ahead and spend his inkwell. And then he's going to go ahead and take this manuscript, which is going to then move his virtue marker 1 way over. And that is the AI's turn. They go ahead and do that. Now we're going to come back up to the board where it's my turn and continue. But that's basically the game. Very simple, not complicated. It's just I can see it being very hard to win. I'm excited to play with other human beings once we can, but the AI does seem pretty cool. Just in the fact that you can enjoy the game without having to have another player here, which in this case is pretty good because you can't do anything else. So here I am on the outside board. He's got a manuscript. And what am I going to do? I've already moved, as you can tell on my board, I already moved my lender to the middle. Now I'm going to place a card right here. That is this first action there. Now, if I move 2 spaces, I could do 2 spaces. It looks like no matter what card I play, I'm going to have to move 2 spaces. So we can count. Let's go back to this main board shot. It's going to be 1 or 2, or it's going to be 1 or 2. Very important, you cannot move backwards. You have to move in this general direction. And you do have to move the number of spaces. You cannot move less than. So I am here. I'm either going to end up getting a manuscript, or I'm going to end up with a trade action. And I can turn over one of my... Oh, actually I could turn over a deed, because I do have one that is flipped. I do like that idea, so we are going to go ahead. Let's see what I got here. Yes, I do like this guy. Rudolph. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Yes. We're going to go ahead and play Rudolph. That is a 2, so let's go with the movement. 1 and 2. Now, I could dismiss that townsfolk. I just want to check one thing real quick, if you could just bear with me. Because I think I did explain that wrong. When you dismiss a townsfolk, do you pay that action, or do you pay a different action? Players may dismiss the face-up townsfolk card adjacent to the Viscounts to gain more icons. Do this only as a action icons. Cost is the silver value at the top left of the card. Oh yeah, so it's the same thing. Okay. I wanted to make sure that value up here, where are we seeing? Yeah, the value in the top left-hand corner is the same to dismiss them and the same to recruit them. So I wanted to make sure I was getting that right. Now, we have moved our 2 spaces. We are now going to count these trade icons because I'm going to do the trade action. I need 4 trade actions. I have the 4. It means I get to flip over my deed card. Now that's going to give me 3 points at the end of the game. Pretty simple. So now let's go back to our player board, you can see we did this action, so now we're moving on to this action to recruit. And I think I'm going to recruit the Gatekeeper. I kind of like it. She has a gold, or the Fleur de Lis, which is for castle building, which I like doing. That's fun. Also another trade action, which has been going pretty well for me, so I'm going to keep that up. Also, when I get her, I get to reshuffle my hand, which I will be using to do, and I'll show you how that works. And then once she... Oh, when I do get her, I can also discard 2 cards or rearrange my player board. Seems weird because I get that anyways. Why would I get that twice? Right, so well, I can't really see, but that lets me rearrange, and so does that, and I get to do them at the exact same time. I guess if you're going to dismiss the card, that's why it's there, because you won't get the bottom abilities if you dismiss her. But since I'm going to recruit her, let me spend that 1. Oh, that's far away. Come closer. Thank you. Since I got that 1, I'm going to go ahead and put her in my discard pile. I'm going to rearrange my deck. Let me go ahead and put the player board back up. So there's a player board. I get to rearrange these in any manner I want. I'm going to put my Rudolph guy a little bit further up because he has a cool ability I like when he gets discarded. Then I'm going to, let's see, I can also, I think, discard 2 cards. Discard 1 card from either hand or your draw pile. Do I want to get rid of these guys? No. Well, no. I'll keep them. So we're not going to use that ability. Here you go. In the discard pile. And next we'll move on to collision. No collision has occurred. And we're going to draw back up to 3 cards. Bam. Did that. Cool. I like this guy. So that is my turn. Let me come down here. This is now the AI's turn. We're going to move this over and draw the next card. So on this next card, going down the row, going to get a Virtue. Not bad. I'm going to move the Viscount 3 spaces. Don't think it's really going to do very much, but she is catching up to me. Here comes the Viscount. 1, 2, 3. Lazy Susan. Back to the player board, and then we're going to... Oh, so on the AI game, let's see if I can kind of show you. They do have a main strategy. It looks really bright on my screen, so hopefully it's not on your guys' screen. That icon means that they're going to do their main strategy. This AI character's main strategy is they want to put guys in the castle. Every player board on the flip side is another AI player, which has a different strategy. It's kind of fun. Every time you play solo, you can kind of change it up and do something different. So now that we have this... and putting guys in the castle is what we want to do. My AI player does have 3 gold, which you're going to add to the icons that they have on their board. Fleur de Lis, so they have 5. And if you look over here, 5 means that we get to put 3 workers on the castle board. You get to see how this works. This is another kind of mechanic game within the game. So on this town, connects directly to the side of the castle. We're going to go ahead and put these 3 workers there. Now, whenever you have 3 workers of your own workers in one of these spaces, the outer ring, not the center ring, you have to then, I don't know, it calls a certain term, but it's basically you have to rearrange them because they can't all be on that same space. So when you do that, you move 1 to the second ring, 1 to the left, and 1 to the right. Done. Now, when you do that, you gain the ability that's on that tier. Only the second tier has those cool abilities. In this regard, that means we're going to get a gold. Gold is what this guy favors. He spent 3, so we'll just keep the 2. And that is the castle action. Now, as far as anything else, let's see. Interesting. These guys moved off, so... And there we are. So next we're going to go back down to the player board that I'm doing. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be doing too much, but you know what? I think I'm missing something on that AI board. Let me just double check real quick. I feel like there's something that's supposed to be done there. When given the choice with card to flip, no. Interesting. Takes a turn like everything else. Doesn't say you do it. Oh, those are static actions. Those aren't the other actions. No, I think we're fine. I think it's fine. Someone else tell me if I'm wrong. Playing that solo wrong, but we shall see. They don't have really anything to flip anyways. So back to my board now. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move these two guys off to the side. I have 3 cards here to play. Where's my Viscount? Lazy Susan. And Wiki. So I'm looking at... Can get some points. I can get some guys. I don't like criminals. I can do some more trade actions, but really I don't need too much. I got money, I got stone. Ooh, you know what I could do? How much stone do I got? 2? I can build some buildings. So let's go ahead and show you that, because buildings are always fun. I'm going to go ahead and play the... Oh, wait, no, that's not what that does. Never mind. Well, I guess I'll do a castle action, because I can get there pretty quickly. And I do have 1 gold. So we're going to do that instead. On the player board, I'm going to go ahead and play the Squire. Squire is going to let me move 2. I am here, so let's go 1, 2 on the player board. So where I am now, I can go ahead for the manuscript, or I can put guys in the castle. That's what I'm going to do. That second part, put guys in the castle, it's going to cost me, let's see, I have 1 gold. And then 2 for-releases, so that's 3 icons that I could use, which means I can put 2 dudes in that place. So I'm just kind of glancing to see if there's any other icons I'm missing maybe I want to use. Doesn't look like it. Looks like it's all I got. So let's go ahead and drop this off over here. I'm going to take 2 guys from here. Go back to the main board. Oh, I wish I had a stage manager. Or, stage manager, right? Producer? Director? Someone with film experience who can click back and forth between the 2 shots. And that is that action. Now we're looking at recruiting townsfolk. That is a criminal. I don't recruit criminals. I am not the Godfather. So we're not going to do that. Next is going to be collision. No collision has occurred. Next is going to be drawback up to 3 cards. And there we go. I do need to start recruiting more guys. Somehow, some way I need to do it. So, there's that. Now, let's go back to our AI board. This is exhausting. Sliding these over. Flipping that over. It is true. It does say that. I don't know why. It doesn't say that in the rules. Those are different icons, though. C'est la vie. So, this new thing, okay, so now we have a criminal AI card, which means we're going to gain corruption for every criminal icon that we have on the board. There is only that 1, so we're going to go ahead and just move that over, and that is corruption. Now we're going to gain a debt, which is the first debt that has been gained from the turn track. So now there are 11 cards there. We're getting... well, a little bit closer to the end of the game just from that. But now he's got a debt. We're going to go ahead and put that off to the side. Next is going to be 4 spaces on the main board. Wiki. And coming here, let's go 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Coming across there. Next is going to be their main thing, which is to place workers on the castle step. Would be cool, but we only have the 1 gold right now and 1 for the lease icon, so not really something you want to do at this point because you can't afford to put any workers on there. It's going to cost you a minimum of 3, and we only have 2 to put workers there. So then we're going to move to this next action, which is to flip a deed or a debt. That being said, we're going to flip a debt, which is going to give us a free icon, or a free resource, excuse me. And he's going to take gold. So now he has 2 gold on him. That's going to come in handy later. We also gain a corruption from that, getting really close here to collision. So we're going to see how that works out in a minute. Next, it looks like looks like you draw a card on that too. I'm going to take a good look at this real quick. Because that icon is there. All these icons have the same function that they do that. When given a choice, flip a deck card. Yeah, that must be it. Yeah. So if you're, what I'm actually referring to, and this may be helpful if you do play this game solo, which I do recommend, it's a pretty fun game just to play by yourself, which sounds weird to say out loud. But these icons up here, just like the turn icons on the regular player board, it looks like we do. It looks like that's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to flip another debt over and gain another gold. This kind of makes sense for the AI player because otherwise they're kind of just stalling. They're not really getting a lot of stuff. We're also going to gain another future scheme card, I think is what they're called. These are basically the AI cards that they use to do actions. So we're going to go there. And then those two icons on the end look like they put cards or resets or something. Let's see. Shuffle your discard back into your draw pile. Players must have at least one card in their discard pile to resolve this. Why would you do that now? I'm not going to do that. I could be wrong, but tell me I'm wrong because I'm not going to do that. We don't have any cards there. We have plenty in the deck. I'm just going to leave that as it is. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. So, that is the end of the AI action. Now let's go back over to my board and see what we got here. We're going to be gaining some... When this guy drops off, I'm going to be gaining free resource, anything I want. And I'm looking to see what's good. I have the option to move 2 or 3 spaces. I am here on this inside track. And I do see some manuscripts that I like. I am able to get some more ink when this guy drops off. I do like manuscripts. They're fun. They're just cool little things to use. I think I'm going to do that. So we're going to drop off Rudolph. And then when he does, I get 2 of my choice. I'm going to go ahead and get Inkwells. These are going to shift over. And then the Abbot is going to come out. So that's 2 movement. Keeping it on the inner circle. 1, 2. Lazy Susan coming there. Oh, I do like this one. All right. So this, I'm going to go for the manuscript. This is going to cost me 3 icons, Inkwells, any combination of the 2. I have 1 icon. I have 1 across. So that's going to count towards this. And then I just need 2 more. I have the 2 more Inkwells. That's going to pay for the rest of it. Bam. Bam. That comes over here on my board. And I immediately draw a deed. This deed will not be flipped over. It'll still just cost 1 point. But it's good. I like deeds. Deeds are fun. Next, let's go back to the player board. So I did that action there. No. I did that action there. Now I'm going to move on to this next action, which is recruit. Oh, it's a criminal. Let's see. It's a criminal. Looks like a crazy man. Called an illusionist. I can reshuffle my guys around. Don't really want to do that. You know, sometimes you do need a criminal for things, and he's pretty cheap. You know, I said I wasn't going to recruit any criminals. Well, I lied. I'm going to go ahead and recruit this guy. I'm going to pay the $1. Take this dude. I get to reshuffle my guys if I want. And I don't want. So we're just going to put that there. Add him to my discard pile. Now we move on to the next action, which is check for collision. No collision. Oh, you can't see that. And then we're going to draw back up to 3. Here we go. I'm going to have to start looking at other things in this board because I'm getting a lot of trade actions. Cool. That is my action. Let's come back up over here, actually. Come down through here. There is the AI board. Gonna drop this card off. Move these all over. And there we go. Next AI action. It's gonna be to discard the current... Oh, let's go to the main board so you can kind of see. Move it around. So the action on this card is going to be to remove the top card, townsfolk of the card deck that he's in. So that's going to be the Debt Collector, which is actually looks like a pretty cool card because he has some stuff on there. But no, he's gone away. Next, he's going to move 2 spaces. So let's go 1 and 2 over here. And then next is going to be the, place workers. Ooh, this is going to be interesting because now you're going to see workers being placed in the castle. And when you place workers in the castle and you don't have, this is not wine, this is water. When you place workers in the castle, there's bumping that goes on because you're only allowed to have 3 workers total in a particular area. And when you get bumped off, you get certain bonuses. And I'll show you how that works now. YouTube, this is water. It's water. It's just water. So now let's go back to the player board so we can kind of see. We have 3 gold. We have 2 icons for Fleur de Lis, so that would bring it up to 5, which means 3 workers get placed. So let's go back to the main board. Pay the cost to be the boss. 3 workers come out. 1, 2, and 3. Now 3 of the same color, which means they're going to automatically start bumping. So they go there, there, and there. And 1 worker committed suicide. Suicide's not funny. Don't make that joke. Since he moved up to the 2nd tier, he's going to gain an inkwell and stone. Let's go ahead and put that over here for that. Now we look at the castle board to see if any of the areas, the 1st tier or the 2nd tier, have 3 or more workers. If they did, then the person whose turn it is gets to choose which workers to bump off because you can't have more than 3 in the same space. Not the case here. As you can see, plenty of space there. No worries. We're going to continue with the turn, which is... Did that. Now we're moving over here. No collision. Getting very close to collision, though, I can tell you. So now we're going to go ahead and flip over this debt. Or this deed, excuse me. So they get 3 points in the game. It's not the debt where they get a free resource. Then we're going to go ahead and add a scheme card to their deck. And yeah, that's the end of the AI's turn. Let's come back up to me. Moving along. This game is actually, seems like it's going to take a little bit of time. And I'm not sure exactly where it's going to go. I don't know what to focus on right now. So, I think I like manuscripts, but I have a lot of trading cards in my hand right now. And my lender is going to drop off, which is going to let me flip over that debt that I have, which is good. Or that deed that I have, excuse me. That is confusing. Debt and deed. Black or red. Red is good, black is bad. Game's racist. No, it's the red cards are for prosperity and the black cards are for debts. Yeah, still sounds bad. Either way, so let's go ahead and take a look. We're going to drop off the lender. Her discard ability triggers, which means I get to flip that over. Slide these over to the side. And I don't really have a lot of options in my hand of what I can do. I can get more gold, but you know, don't really need it. I do get that trader, which means I'm not really sure what this icon means. So this icon is showing that when you pay gold, looks like you get gold. So do you just get that icon for free? That doesn't make any sense. Take a quick look here, because oh wait, is that gold? Oh, that's gold. Yeah, it's a trade action, so you can spend gold to do it. Gain 1 silver per merchant icon. Oh, let's see. Player gets to earn the merchant on board to decide. Should also earn them 1 silver taking this action due to their ongoing ability. Okay, so yeah. So you basically will use gold to fuel the trade action, and then you gain gold because you use that action. So it kind of cancels each other out. But now that we have him there, we're going to go ahead. Oh, do I want to use him? Nah, too late. He's already there. So let's come back over here to this main board. And I should move up because I only have the 1, and I'm going to do a trade action over here. Oh, actually, that works out very well. So almost works out very well. So let's see here. I can spend Go back to this player board. We're going to be doing this action here, which is a trade action. I can get 1 inkwell for every 2 trade bags I have. He's going to give me 1, and I'm going to buy 1, which is going to basically cost me nothing because I get it back to get an inkwell, which I like. I like inkwells. They're fun. So there we go. Did all those actions. Now do I want to recruit? The Scoundrel. Cost me 1, another free action. But she gets me gold right away if I get it. And I do like gold. So I think, yeah, I'm going to do it. Because I have a lot of money. And I have totally just said whatever to not bind any criminals. Going for the criminal route. With this card, I can discard something. Not destroy, just discard. And I think I'm going to discard the Journeyman. And the reason I'm going to do that is because when you get... Oh, you can't really see that, can you? When you do that, I get to recruit a townsfolk from the main board. That's what that icon means. And I gain a virtue, which is what I want. So let's go ahead and do that. And get a gold. And get a virtue. And then I get to get anyone I want from this board. What looks good here? The Deacon, get more inkwells. Oh, the Deacon has an ongoing ability. I gain virtue every time I take a manuscript action. That's really cool. I like that. I think that's what I'm going for. Yeah, this guy right here. Whenever I do a manuscript action, I'm going to get a virtue. I like that. It's an ongoing ability. So we're going to go ahead and take him. He's free because of that card's ability. Puts it in the discard. And now I can recruit from where I am, but I'm not going to do it because that is the antagonist, and she does not look happy. She looks like she's going to start something, yeah. But she does get you a debt if you pull her, and more corruption. No, not going to do it. So there's that action. There has been no collision. Now we're going to draw back up to 3 cards. Oh, I'm at 2, which means I have to shuffle. And then draw again. So this game's moving along. I need to get some. I need to get some more debts or deeds or something. Figure this out. How do I want to play this game? There's that. All right, let's move back down to the AI board here and see what happens. So we're gonna go ahead and slide that off there. Slide this all over. New card comes out. I get a gold, which is good. Always liking getting gold. I move my Viscount 1 space. Coming up on the outside circle. Almost about to hit me. Going back over here, it looks like, oh, a build action is being done. And do I have enough to build? I have 2. And I think 2 is not going to be enough. I need 3 in order to build. So I don't have enough to build. That is the first action there. I have 1 stone. I have 1 hammer icon. That's it. It's not enough. So move on to this next action, which is his main thing that he likes to do. And that is to put workers on the castle. And by the looks of it, he does have enough. He has 1 gold and 2 fertilises, so that's going to pay, allowing him to put 2 workers on the board. So this is going to be fun. Let's go ahead and check it out. Actually, it's not going to be that fun. It's going to be pretty boring. There we go. 2 workers are out there. Build. Wait, no, that's not him. Oh, this is going to be fun. 2 workers come out. Bam, just like that. So now that triggers, which means 1 moves up, 1 moves to the side, 1 moves over here, and I get to flip a debt or deed card. Do not have one that can be flipped, so we're going to ignore that. No other place in that castle has more than 3 workers. So that's the end of that castle phase. And now we're going to move to everything else. Flip if we have it. Add a card, which we can do now. And it looks like we're going to start to get there to shuffle next. We'll be shuffling that up next, which means we're going to be getting a lot more harder cards for the AA player. Good stuff. All right. So that is the end of that phase. Let's go ahead and move back over to my board. And here we are. We're going to go ahead and drop off the squire. Move these two over here. And let's see what I got in my hand. Oh, finally, I got a worker. I can build something. Building buildings is good too, because that's another way you can get points. But my AI player hasn't built anything yet, so not too worried about it. But let's see what I can do. I do have 2 stone. I can move 2, if I'm not mistaken. These are tricky to see. Beg your pardon, 3. So, oh yeah, that helps right there. Costs 3 to build one of these workshops, and when you build a building you get the icon underneath it, which could be helpful for later on. So I think we're going to do that. Let's go ahead and play this card, which moves the Viscount 2 spaces, 1 and 2. I can now build, let me go back to the main board. I can now build a building here or here, which is going to either give me the chance to flip a debt or deed, I don't have any, or get a gold, which I do like. And let's see here, if I do the collision, then I can get the virtue. I can also destroy a card, or I increase my hand limit by 1. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to do the worker action. I'm going to spend this icon. You can't see that. I'm going to spend this icon here. That means that, and these 2 stones for 3, which means I get to build a workshop. I'm going to build this workshop here in the end, which is going to increase my hand limit by 1. This is going to go here. I don't want to go here just because you can't see what I'm doing. I don't have a D to flip, so I don't want to waste that yet. I'm going to go there. Now, if you notice, there's a little icon here in the middle. Yet is a bonus that you get when you connect the 2. Build a building here and here, you get that card. If someone else has a building there, it's still fine. You both get the card. It's like a little chain ability. So we'll do that, and with that building, I get the gold. Cool. I got gold. I got inkwells. This is good. This is good. So now we'll move to, do I want to buy this worker? He's going to give me more gold. And he's a swindler. This guy right here, swindler. He's got the goods. He's got a little jacket. A little like gold watches, gold chains. It cost me 3. I have a lot of money, so we're going to go ahead and do that. $3 spent. Oh, it's so far away. Take this guy. Oh, when I do, I gain corruption. I'm going to show you that. Yeah, just went from there to there. But I also get, oh wait, that is not an instant. That's when he gets dropped off. Whoops. Either way, not a big deal. So there's that. I recruited the action, so now I'm moving over here. There has been no collision. Now I draw up to 4 cards because I have that building built. And there we go. That is that action. Let's move back over here to the AI board. We're going to be getting some new AI cards coming up. Shifting over. Let's see what we got. Oh, corruption. Getting really close to a little collision there. So now we're going to see that every criminal icon moves my corruption marker, which means that goes there. Getting very close to a collision. Then, oh, another card comes out, another future scheme card. Almost done with those. I'm not going to have very many left. I'm going to move my Viscount 1 space. Let's come over here to the turntable. There's that 1 space. And then they're going to do their main ability, or they're going to gain a debt. Ooh, okay, let me show you this. This is going to be cool. So if you can see down here in the bottom, it's either they do their main action, which in this case would be to place workers, but we don't have enough icons to do it, and we don't have any gold, so we're going to skip that. Instead, move to the second ability, which means gain a deed. That's what this red card is. And then flip over a debt, but we don't have any debts that can be flipped over, so it's just going to say where it is. Still pretty cool though. But now, if you look up here, we're going to flip over this deed. So they're getting more points from that. Next, it's the last scheme card is going to be added to their deck. And then we're going to reshuffle. And that's what's going to... This game's going to start to get really tricky for me. And nowhere near ending. I wonder if a game moves a lot faster when there's more people. Because people are probably grabbing those debts and deeds a little bit quicker than that. So let's move back over to the player board. And now we see that we have those 3 guys. I have 4 cards in my hand because my hand limit is increased. And the first thing I'm going to do is play a card. But let's go ahead and drop off the Abbot. Open up this space here. And I'm going to lose this guy on the next turn and not be able to use his ability. So I'm wondering if it's worth it to do it. Let's look at the main board. I have 2 guys that have trade actions that can either move me 1 space or 3 spaces. So I come here, get more inkwells, or I can go 1, 2, and 3 and go for the money. I only have $2 left. If I do that, I can use a criminal. I can also use this guy, but I don't have the money to do that either. Options. Or, let's see, I do have... Nope, don't have that. I do have a criminal, though. Can I build? Nope, can't build. Kind of want to use my criminal just because. Let me see. Yeah, I think I want to use my criminal. Where is... We'll move 1. Yeah. So, let's go back to the player board. And I'm going to use the Scoundrel. It's going to move my Viscount 1 space. Then it's going to gain me a corruption because she is a criminal. And I'm going to get a gold. Now, after that, I have to choose an action. And I believe I'm going to choose the castle action. If I can just get one more icon, though. Even with the 3, it's still 4. It's just not enough. So we're just going to use the wild criminal icon, 2 gold bars, to then put 2 workers on the... Oh, wait, no, I cannot do that because I am not the AI player. I have to be in the inside ring to do that. So, retcon, don't tell anyone. AI game, it's fine. Instead of moving there, I'm just going to move down here. Oh, wait, can I do that? Can you only move where the arrows are pointing? I believe you can. I don't think you can move down unless the arrow says you can move down. Let's take a quick look. During this set, players will be moving their Viscounts clockwise on the main board. This is equal to the silver. The top players can never move fewer. If Viscount ever finishes movement, blah, blah, blah. When moving players must follow the arrows, leaving their current space. So, still not the end of the world. I'm going to go there instead, which is a trade action. I'm still going to use my wild, as you can see, and I'm going to, well, I'll use the money, but it won't really do me very much good. I'll just get the money back. Yeah, so we'll use 2 to gain 1 inkwell. We're doing this action from this trade action, which is 2 bags for 1 inkwell. So I gained just the 1 inkwell and moved on. That is the end of that action. Now we see if we want to recruit and get this guy, but I don't have enough money, so we're not going to use him. Although I do like him. The Artisan. Can you guys see it? Yeah. The Artisan's pretty cool. He lets me flip over a deed when he gets discarded, which I like. And he has a worker action. He has a hammer, which I need for building. He has a building icon. That's what I'm looking for. So there's that. Now, I'm not going to get him. No collision has occurred. And now we're going back up to drawing cards. Although I do think a collision is going to occur in this next turn. Let's go over to the AI board and let's see. All right. Dropping off. Moving over. Ooh, this is one of those future schemes. It's supposed to be supercharged. First thing I'm going to do is gain a deed. Alright, so deeds are popular right now. 4 spaces on the main board. This actually may trigger a cool little thing we're about to see. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Really close. Right behind me. And if he lands on me, there's a reshuffle aspect of the game. And there's also some corruption you might gain, things like that. I'll get into it when it happens. That is the 4 movement. Now comes their main action, which is going to be to put workers in the castle, but we don't have gold for that. Next would be then to gain a debt and flip over a deed. So looks like deeds are the way to go in this game. I do see a lot of debts, but I think deeds is where it's going to be at. So that was that action there. That takes care of that. Now let's move over here. We're going to be flipping over debts or deeds. We do have a debt. He is going to flip that over. He is going to get a resource. Gold. No more cards to add to the discard pile. No need to reshuffle. That's the AI's turn. Let's keep moving. Coming over back to me. I need to start building stuff. That's how I feel. I need to start building stuff. Alright, now I already have, it didn't move, so then I already have a criminal there. Looks like this is where it's going to go. So, we're going to drop him off. A little bit closer up here. Drop him off, nothing happens. Moving these guys over. And the illusionist I'm going to play, which is a criminal. So we're going to move that corruption marker over. Now, I do have enough to do a castle action, which is what I like to do. So we're going to come over here. Bam. I do have inkwell, so I could grab this manuscript. It's going to give me money and a blue, which isn't a bad idea. I don't have a lot of guys in the castle. Don't necessarily need to do that right now. Excuse me. Yeah, I think... Well, no, because I can put in a lot of dudes. I have 5. Alright, so we are going to be doing this action here, which is a castle action. I'm going to put 5 in. These 2 are wild, plus these 3 gold. So that's 5, which gives me 3 workers. Going back to this main board here, which is going to put 3 workers there. Now we get to see, I think there's going to be some chain reactions going now. 3 of the same color, so things are going to move. Come here, which is automatically going to move my virtue marker 2 spaces, which now it is on top of my corruption marker. For the rest of the turn, those 2 markers are going to move together. So if I gain corruption or if I gain virtue, they just move together. They don't separate. So they're going to stay there. We're going to deal with that in a minute. Now we're going to move this worker over here and this worker over here. Now this is going to cause another chain reaction because as you can see, I have 3 of my color in that row. So again, move this one up, move this one to the side, and this one to the side. When I move up on this second tier, I get a stone and an inkwell. So let's go ahead and grab that. Lots of inkwells. I like that because that means I get to buy the cool manuscripts. Now that is the castle action. Everything there is settled, so we don't have to worry about that. We move on to the recruit a worker. And I still only have $2 and I needed 3. Really wish I had some money because I do like that artisan guy. Now we deal with the collision. As you can see, these 2 guys are together. Goes there. There we go. So, when a collision occurs, all players have constructed their second workshop with no criminals on their playboards. Gain 1 virtue. Not a problem. Doesn't happen. All townsfolk cards on player boards that have effects during collisions are resolved. I do not have any, so we're not worried about that. The current player gains the items printed directly above where the virtue and corruption markers sit. That means I'm going to gain $2. Ah, it's so far away. a debt and deed card. All right. Feeling good about that. Feeling very good about that. Now, my opponent is going to be able to reshuffle their hand. They don't do that, though. So I believe in this little cheat sheet's over there. Can't really see it from here. Might be able to see it if I move it down. So for this AI player, it's a little cheat sheet off there in that top right-hand corner. So whenever they reshuffle, they just gain a resource instead. His main resource is gold, so that's what we're going to put over there. And that's it. So now let's go back and show you what happens with this collision. Now that's they've collided and we've resolved what occurs. They go back to their starting spots. That's it. That's the main way to get debts and deeds from what the book says. As you can see, it's possible to get a lot of one or the other, but you have to either be really bad or really good. So you got to move that little around. It's like a tug of war. Kind of not really. It's an interesting game mechanic. Excuse me. So that was the end of my turn. I'm going to draw back up. I need to look and see because I think it's time to start grabbing some. I think it's time to start grabbing some debts, but we'll worry about that in a minute. Cool. Drawing a card. 4 cards in hand. Moving this back down. Let's see what our AI player is going to be doing. There we go. Clean that up. Dropping that off. Bam, bam, and bam. Ooh. Okay. All right. This is going to be fun. So as you can see, I'm going to gain corruption for every icon that I have. That's a criminal, which is 3. So we're going to move it here. It's on top of virtue. Then it's going to go, that's 1, 2, and 3. And that's where it's going to end up. So that's going to be something we'll deal with later. Now we move to the next action, which is going to be to flip over a deed, but we already have deeds flipped over, so don't worry about it. Our Viscount is going to move 3 spaces, 1, 2, and 3, just like that. Next is going to be their main thing that they love to do. And they do have enough for it. Let's go ahead and check back. So it's going to be the castle action. They have 2 gold, 1 for Delise for 3 total, which means they get to put 3 workers where they currently are. No, excuse me. 2 workers where they currently are, which is going to trigger some things. So let's go back to this main board and resolve this castle action. 1 and 2. So now we're going to move this guy up, this guy to the side, this guy over here. When he moves there, he gets Inkwell and Stone. There's that. Doesn't look like anything else is. Everything's fine here. 3, 3, no 4s is what we're looking for. If there are more than 3, then we bump some guys off. Not a problem right now. And I think we're good. We're good with that. So let's move on to the next action for this player, which is the resolving the collision. Now, just like before, workshop, no, that's not in play. No characters have an icon responding to a collision, so don't have to worry about that. So now we move to what the AI player gets, which is going to be this top part, which is going to be 2 more gold and 3 debts. I'm going to want to start to get some of these debts. Let's move these together. Kind of make a little more space. 3 there. Okay. Now, I will get things. I get what's below. And if I have no criminals, then I gain a debt. But the problem is I do have criminals. So I don't gain anything. Too bad for me. So we resolve that. These guys separate. Cool. Collision's been resolved. Then we move on to the next things, which is nothing for the AI, and that is the AI's turn. You can see how this game's starting to swing. Starting to swing pretty quickly toward their favor because they're going to have a lot more debts than I'm going to have. And if they just go for that straight deed run, oh, it's going to be hurting. So let's see what's going to happen next. Now I have this little, what is he? He looks like a laborer. Day laborer. from Home Depot. Moving these two guys over. I need to start building stuff, but I don't have a lot of builders. So in order to get builders, I need money so I can recruit them. Which means I'm going to start playing. Where am I on the board? I can go 1, 2. And get stone. Stone helps build. I also have inkwells though. I have a lot of inkwells. I have exactly enough to do that. And I have those wild icons there. So we will build for the next round. So we're going to go ahead and put down the Journeyman, which goes here, which moves my Viscount 2 spaces. 1 and 2. And now that the Viscount is there, I'm going to do a player action. I'm going to go ahead and do a manuscript action. And what that's going to let me do is I have these 2 wild icons from these criminals. I also have these 2 wells. And I'm going to go ahead and grab this manuscript, which lets me get 2 resources of my choice. And with that, I'm going to grab 2 stones so I can use it to build stuff later. It's also a blue manuscript, a different color. I already have black, which is good. So there is that. Now we move on to the next bit, which is, do I want to buy this guy? I do have the gold for it, but he's a criminal. Not really looking to do any more criminal stuff. There's a lot happening in this game. And I don't want to waste anyone's time because I think I'm going to be thinking about this game. It's a little bit too much to play. But you get the general idea. This is a very cool game to play solo. There's a lot of options you can take. I kind of want to play it out to see what's going to happen. But I think we're just going to end it here because it's just going to be very monotonous at this point. So I hope you've enjoyed the stream thus far. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. I'm probably going to go ahead and play this tomorrow. I'm just going to leave this here and finish it off then, because there's so many options here and it's a lot to do, especially for a solo game. Like, in order to really, I mean, I haven't played it with other people, but I can kind of get the feel for it. It's just decisions that the person's making, and it's not uncommon that, like with an AI, you're going to be having someone playing a certain strategy, and that's what they're going to be going for the whole time. And that's what the AI is doing. It's trying to put workers in the castles. And as you can see from the main board, it's doing a very good job of that. You know, it's able to get them up there, and you do get points at the end of the game just for that. So, very cool game. I do like it. Can't wait to play with other people. I hope you've enjoyed this stream. Thank you very much. Next week, we're going to be playing Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea Solo, which is a 4X game that is probably the closest board game you can get to an RTS. Very cool game. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.